Now we're looking over the pond, because if you think politics is crazy here, you only have to look over the pond and see that it's even crazier. Donald Trump's lawyers now have asked the judge who's overseeing his election interference trial to push back the start date by 2 years. They've requested the trial begin in April 2026, a year and a half after the next election.
And in other news, the former president will also no longer hold a news conference nor release a supposed report detailing election fraud claims in Georgia.
So, what's happening? Did he lose the evidence, or perhaps he meant that he'd release his tax returns? Perhaps. Let's speak to the former Clinton and Bush advisor, Steve Gill. And a very good morning, Steve. What on earth is going on? I mean, every single day things get crazier, don't they?
Good morning, guys. And can I first point out that as a former divorce lawyer, let me say, divorces are always more expensive than weddings. So we got to get to that point as well.
Very true.
It is like Groundhog Day, that old movie where every day you wake up, it's another indictment, it's another delay. And I'm going to be going through this certainly for the next year or two. Part of it is that these trials involve, and first of all, they're all over the country. In some cases, you got highly confidential documents that first getting the lawyers through the security process to be able to view the documents is going to take a lot of time. And then we start thinking about getting a jury that you're going to have to pick that's also going to have to go through the security process to be able to show them some of these supposedly highly confidential documents. That's going to be a basis for delay. In this newest case that's been indicted that they're trying to rush to trial, I think there's over 11.5 million documents, something like 10,000 hours of videotape from the so-called insurrection and riot on Capitol Hill. Just going through that evidence as a defense team is going to take a mountain of time, and trying to rush this thing to try to have a quick trial is all about politics, trying to get a trial quick before President Trump becomes the Republican nominee for president and maybe wins the presidency.
Okay, Steve, often in these circumstances, the process is the punishment, isn't it? Just dragging Trump's name through the courts to try and inflict damage during the primaries and moving forward. But critics of Trump say these are the most serious charges he has faced yet, the alleged rigging of the election in Georgia. How much substance do you think those allegations contain?
I think they increasingly look weak as some of the charges are examined more fully. And I do agree that part of this is just to bleed money from Trump. A significant portion of his fundraising for the presidential campaign is going to paying legal fees. I think the last count was $30 or $40 million. And again, I say as a lawyer, I haven't been included in any of that. But it's also bleeding the resources of those that are sort of lower level staffers that have been indicted. One individual was indicted in Atlanta for setting up a conference room for the president to have a meeting. You call a hotel, you get a conference room, that's going to get you indicted as a criminal offense. You have another instance where the chief of staff, Mark Meadows, who was the chief of staff for President Trump, has been indicted and charged a criminal charge for calling Congressman Rick Perry in Pennsylvania to get the phone number of 2 elected officials. That's exactly what a chief of staff does. And he's been indicted for that, for a criminal offense. This is intended to run up legal fees, to put pressure on these folks, to break them, frankly, financially. And that is the punishment they're seeking, because I don't think they can get actual convictions in these cases. Mark Meadows, by the way, is trying to move his case to federal court and out of the hands of the local Atlanta DA, who is an elected official playing to her elected base. Okay. He's trying to move to federal court. I think a lot of these cases will end up in the same way.
Okay,
well,
Steve,
you and we are going to get to know each other awfully well over the next year, aren't we? Because we're going to be talking about it every day. Steve, thanks very much indeed for joining us.